What's up, sports fans? Welcome to the Sports Opinions Podcast. I'm Alex Cuesta. With me today is very special guest, a kid I've known for a real long time. Plays defensive end for Fairleigh Dickinson. Robert Planter. What's up, Rob?
What's good, Alex? How you been?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, like I just said, Rob plays football for Fairleigh Dickinson, defensive end, former player at Pace University, playing defense there as well. We're just going to jump right into it with your knowledge in football. You're playing at the college level. Obviously, the hit that happened with Ryan Shazier in this past Steelers-Bengals game was terrible. You know, it was just something you never want to see on a football field. You, with the knowledge you have in football, you're obviously playing. Do you think this is more of a nature of the game issue, or are you going to call it, a hit on the technique? What's your take on the Shazier hit?
So with the Shazier hit, honestly, I was bothered by it. I think it was a combination of both. I think he could have kept his head up, but at the same time, it was a fast play. Like, you're dealing with a receiver. I'm not exactly sure who the receiver is. I was going to go back and
I think it's Malone.
Right
Malone
now.
Was the receiver.
Okay. So, I mean, you're dealing with, like, a slot guy, decent amount of speed. So, you want to make a hit. You want to get there. But the thing with it is, Shazier makes that play if it's heads up, but you're not thinking that in a split second, in a split second moment. It was early in the game when it happened, and the defense looked shaky throughout that game. But I feel like it's a combination of both. You got to keep your head up, but yeah, I mean it's a freak accident, nothing like that. I mean, there's plenty of plays that are made like that, and you see the guy get up and walk away fine. It's just unfortunate, to say the least.
I completely agree with you, because I was watching that play, and in fast motion, it's like that's a normal football play. Guy coming across the middle, linebacker steps up, throws his body into the legs, guy goes down, they get up, play dead.
Yep.
But, you look at it, when you do super slow-mo, like everything on the planet is right now, you could see
exactly.
Shazier drops his head, he leaves his feet a little, he launches a little, and all that, when he makes contact, makes that hit what it is. But, we're both Jets fans. I think we've seen over the years Mo Lewis, Demario Davis, David Harris, all these dudes make that same exact play on Patriots players and stuff, and it's like they get up, they're good, no big deal. So it's like I'm kind of torn. I'm the same way as you with this injury. A lot of people are trying to make it what it isn't. They're trying to make it like the head injuries crap that we've been hearing so often lately, and it's like this is just a football play that happened to go wrong. It's a part of football.
Exactly. It's just something that you're going to realize, like, if you're going to play, it's going to happen. Like, perfect example, there's a kid who plays middle linebacker at Fairleigh, and he had, I believe, 138 tackles this season, and I've seen the kid make some crazy plays, and he weighs 170 pounds, and he's playing middle linebacker for us, which is, he's extremely undersized for the position, but there's plays where he goes in and his head's down. Like, you see it on film, he's not looking straight up, and it's a natural thing to do. It's a habit that needs to be broken, but there's some plays that he would not have made had he not been put in that position. So call it whatever you want, safe, unsafe. That's how the game's played at certain speed, and that's how players are getting stats. That's how Ryan Shazier is who he is. Because last year, the hit on Giovanni Bernard that he had, the same thing. His head was right. You see it right under Bernard's chin, and he goes in, crown of his head goes right under his helmet. He knocked out Bernard, and he walked away from that one. But I mean, it happens. It happens.
And, bottom line, these dudes on defense are paid to get the guys that have the ball down to the ground, period.
Exactly.
There's no other way to do it, and you're not even paid. You're in college. That's your job. Literally,
Yep.
That's your job. If that guy has the ball, he's in there, you get him to the ground. No ifs, ands, or buts. It shows up on film that you didn't give the effort they think you give. You get ripped in film session. There's no other way about it. And, go ahead, Robert.
Yep. It's
Planter.
just, it's one thing for me to get ripped in film, but it's another thing when you're getting paid all this money and Pro Bowl means this amount of tackles means this. Like, you're going to do what you got to do, and if that happens, it happens. Like, I forget, there was a Steelers defensive back who I believe said something.
It was Mikey Mitchell, I think it was.
Yep. And he said it's a grown man's game. Like, if you don't want to get hurt, don't come out here and play. Like, that's how the game is. As gruesome as the injury is, as bad as it potentially could have been for Ryan Shazier, that's the mindset that they're coming out there with. Like, you're coming out here to do a job, like you said.
And and that walks right into the next topic with the fines for hits and everything going on. we saw two other hits that in that Steelers and Bengals game. Exactly. We saw the one that Ioka laid on Antonio Brown, which got him a 1-game suspension, which was appealed, and he won that appeal, which, watching that play over and over again, there was no reason he got flagged or suspended. I know our buddy Colton, he ain't going to be happy to hear about that. Everyone listening, go give my buddy Colton a listen. Download the Radio FX app. Go to WOCC. He's on there talking sports sometimes. He actually knows somewhat what he's talking about. He's a Steelers fan, though, so don't hold that against him. But, you look at that play, and Antonio Brown's going across the back of the end zone. Aloka hits him with his shoulder as he goes to catch the ball, and he gets flagged, and he's getting a suspended. What are defensive players supposed to do there? It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that hit. I'm gonna give credit to toe tap Tony Antonio Brown.
He's unbelievable. My God,
that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing here. I mean, the guy catches the ball. He's a great, best receiver in the NFL. But the hit was clean. It was clean. It's a clean hit. I just it looks bad when it first happens, and refs they throw the flag. Now the suspension afterwards, I don't know who exactly makes that decision, but that's just not a good decision. I have not much other to say about that.
So what's your thought on the fact that was a 1-game suspension? Even though we won, the penalty was a 1-game suspension. And Rob Gronkowski literally throws his forearm in the back of a defenseless cornerback that just made a pick. Throws his forearm, puts his head into the ground, that full 6'7", 260-pound behemoth dude, and tries to hurt him. He gets 1 game too. Is that how that should have been an ejection? I think 4 games. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that this is it, and the common thing of the Patriots just in the NFL. I don't know how it works or why it happens this way. I mean, I'm looking at the fine amounts, and he did get fined. He got fined almost a little more than $250,000 for the hit. So. I mean, he's taking hit in his pockets.
Yeah, but they make bank, though. Especially a guy like Rob Gronkowski. He makes superstar all-pro money. Granted, he's the best tight end we've ever seen play when he's healthy. But still.
Yeah. The fine, I don't understand that. Why would the fine be so much more? Almost $200,000 more than the JuJu Smith Schuster hit fine. And
oh my God!
It's the same suspension. That's the thing that just doesn't sit right.
Smith Schuster is another one. You know what? He made a big hit. If he didn't stand over him, I don't think he gets suspended. I think he just gets fined. I think the taunting and the immaturity played into the fact that the league was like, no, we're not going to reward immaturity. So they gave him, because that hit didn't deserve a suspension either. He turned around, he blocked the dude.
It's the standing over him. I mean, there's people who it was a little touchy thing because that happened a little after, I want to say, the Williams hit, the Vince Williams hit, where he knocked out Mixon and everything. So I guess every hit in that game kind of got a little more attention because of the fact that a player might be, paralyzed from the waist down. But I feel like, it was hands down immaturity, and I think the NFL's had their chance to, play the good role with JuJu being the young kid, and then now they get the chance to say, oh, he's being immature and he's due. But I mean, that's something you kind of give yourself unnecessary attention for, so towards negative. But he was quick to apologize for it and say it was wrong, despite everyone saying Burfict deserved it, and he, and karma comes back to you. And I think Antonio Brown said something about karma too. But I think, like you said, immaturity, JuJu, he's young. I guess, take it for what it is.
And as we talk a lot about that game because it was so vicious and nasty, but it was football. Honestly, as a football fan, I loved watching just the intensity of that game. That was football 101. I think Big Ben summed it up, even though I'm not a big fan of his. He summed it up perfectly when the interview. It's AFC North football. It's nasty, it's gritty, they beat the hell out of each other, and it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, these games are competitive. The first Bengals game, the Steelers when they played Bengals, it's a good game. This game obviously is a good game. They come back and win. Boswell's having a year kicking the ball. I mean, it's just like you said, it's good football. It's always going to be good football to watch. You're rarely going to have. I mean, the Browns are, they're there, but the other.
Do the Browns play football?
Yeah, that's. But the other 3 teams are always going to compete. That's something that the Ravens always split with the Steelers. Even when the Steelers had their year that they were 500, they're still competing in all those games in the year. It's always going to be a competition.
Speaking of Browns, quick shout out to Josh Gordon on the comeback. Keep it coming. They can't stop you. Smoking bud ain't that big of a deal, man. Let it go, league. Let it go, NFL.
I mean, that's a whole other, I feel like, topic with that.
Absolutely. We could do a whole podcast on that alone.
We really could. That's
Ricky Williams, Josh Gordon, like it's just like
so many players,
Denver
so
in
many
general.
players.
It's like
Martavis Bryant.
Seriously, but moving on. Speaking of grit, what about our Jets? Just a little bit with Rob. Rob is a big Jets fan, but he's also, I talked to him about the Steelers because he's a pseudo Steelers fan. His dad's a Steelers fan, so he's been following them. We make fun of him, telling him that he ain't a real Jets fan, but we'll give him a little bit here. But with the Jets, what the hell are they doing? Like everyone wanted them to lose, but all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, they're still in a playoff hunt. Like what the hell?
I mean, I think the Jets, the biggest thing, first off, love the pick. Love taking Jamal Adams. Love King, President and all, that's he's the guy.
He's nasty.
Take somebody like that, he immediately changes. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. So, for the summer, the Fairleigh Dickinson football team, we went to go see one of the Jets practices during the camp. I think it was a little after the third preseason game. And it was.
I've heard some stuff about him in practice. I heard he's a psycho in practice.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it was. He'd come on, and they're doing the all right. So it's the defensive period. They got the scout offense up, and then he's chilling. He's just going through his regular things. Nothing.
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
As soon as the one step on, Anderson's out there. McCown was actually hurt, so Hackenberg was taking snaps at that point. He's all over the field. He's absolutely like it's crazy. Like you see that kind of energy. The only people who are bringing that kind of energy besides him there was Williams, who was there for always, and then him. And you can tell that these are the guys on the defense. Like they're making the biggest difference. Like Buster was out there. He was out there. He you kind of see it, but Jamal he was a presence. Like he made sure he ran down. Like when Robbie caught a ball in the defense, he would make sure he chased them down. When he came on a blitz, he made sure he knew he was there. He was clapping in Hackenberg's face. Like that's the kind of thing that you want to see from your rookie. Like he's coming and letting people know that this is basically it's his defense now. I mean, all eyes are on him on the defense. Him and Leonard and the rest
Marcus,
of the front
but though, not to be outdone, you got Marcus May, the other rookie safety over there, and he had his worst game as a pro against the Chiefs this past weekend, where he let Travis Kelce just destroy him twice early in the game. But after those two plays, you didn't hear much. Marcus May, I think, before those two plays, had the best numbers for any safety in the league in terms of passing. He's been the best cover safety, and that's insane considering last year the Jets were the absolute worst passing defense in the league. Gave up every big play possible. And this year, with Adams and May being back there, like you said, Jamal Adams brings that nasty streak. But, Marcus May just quietly, no one throws at him besides this week, and he doesn't miss tackles. So you got those two guys back there that are just running around like psychos. I think that energizes the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you can have guys who are just, hair above maybe 215, 220, and they're coming out and they're making plays against, the tight ends in the league and the bigger running backs in the league. Like that gives defensive linemen it gives you a boost of confidence because you're thinking now it's my turn to go in there and make a play. Like that kind of energy is always beneficial to a defense. Like you see the Jets defense, there's music on, they're in between plays, they get the TV commercials and they're jumping around, they're dancing and stuff like that. Especially against teams like the Patriots, where you're going to need that.
I was at that game where they called the Safarian Jenkins touchdown back, and let me tell you, yeah, literally, like you said, every time there was a TV timeout, the defense was on the play. If they were playing a song that the dudes were feeling, you would see Marcus out there dancing, Buster Screen, Jamal Adams, Demario Davis, Jenkins, Lee. They're all just getting it, and it's like it brings out, and they're always, and when I'm not even kidding, almost every single play, Leonard Williams, Jamal Adams, Darren Lee were throwing their hands up, getting the crowd into it, and I had some pretty good seats. I was in the 100s, and then we were in the coach's box, so we were able to walk out onto the field behind the Jets bench. And I'm not going to lie, it was funny. It got done after Screen, I think it was after he made the pick against Brady. He came down, we were right in the front. I was like, hey, nice pick, Screen. He just looked at me and smiled. Like he was trying to do his best to be a pro and not get out of the game. And then even Jamal Adams, I looked at him, I was like, hey Jamal, and he gave me a little mini cutthroat, which I know that if the camera caught him, he would have been fine forever. But but it was like just like pretty cool. Like you see that raw emotion from these dudes, and it's like they just believe that they're gonna win games. And just real quick question, talking about rookies, when you were there, Elijah McGuire, did you see this type of pop and spark out of him when he was on the field as a rookie in preseason?
I think I wasn't as aware that he was someone to look out for, but going back, he actually was. I don't want to say, because you know what it was? They were preparing for the Giants game because they had they had the white and red, the white jersey with red numbers, and somebody who had 13, and so I want to say he was running scout. I'm not positive though.
But it's like, damn, like he just comes in and it's like we haven't seen that pop from a running back since Leon Washington. Like where it's just pure speed. Like I like personally, I don't think he's as good as Leon because there was a year where Leon was the best player in the league until he got hurt. But it's like he has that type of speed and pop where it's like if he gets to the edge, he has home run speed. You ain't catching him.
Yeah. He even I remember it was after. I might have been after week 3. He had like a really long run. He must have like a 70+ yard run, and he like posted something on his Instagram about how like you're just not catching him. He's like he gives the other team E for effort. Like he's just it's good to see that, like to see the Jets that have like we have some swag with us again, like swag.
But that's like healthy social media use. Like I like that social media use. It brings the fans in. It's not negative. It's engaging. But we're gonna look on the other side of town with the Giants, where we've seen our share of negative social media use with Odell. He's still doing his thing constantly, but we're not going to talk about Odell in this one. We're going to talk about how they handled Eli. Now, when I first heard about the benching and everything like that, I wasn't mad. Eli was getting his ass kicked all year. They couldn't run the ball. I think Orleans Darkwa has shown that he's a football player in the NFL. He's just not a premier back. But that line, terrible. All of his receivers got hurt. Evan Ingram dropped every pass early in the year. So it's like him getting benched didn't make a difference to me. It was the fact of the way they did it. And you go to JuJu Smith, like what the hell? Everyone knows Geno has a great arm, but he can't sense a blitz and he fumbles the ball. Like that's his knocks. So how did you feel when you heard about all this nonsense going on now that Eli's back starting? Like it's just ridiculous.
All right, so the Eli situation. So when I first hear it, my initial thought is you don't bench a Hall of Famer. Like you just don't. There's no reason to. I can understand if you're trying to play Webb. If you're playing Webb and you're giving him some snaps, giving him first team, and you're trying to get him like ready because you're thinking this is the guy, then maybe do that. But playing Geno over Eli with the situation at hand, like you've lost maybe one of the better up and coming, well, probably one of the best, players in his class with Shepard, who's going to develop. You lost arguably, a top 3 receiver in the league in Odell.
Let's be frank. I'm not a big Odell fan. AB's getting his due now. When Odell's healthy, he's the best, most talented receiver in the game. Like Antonio Brown is unbelievable. Don't get me wrong, but no one does what Odell does. There hasn't been a guy in so long that literally, if he touches the ball on a 5-yard slant, good chance he's going 80 for a score. Antonio doesn't do that. Like Antonio's a good streak and skinny post guy, but Odell's the most electric player in football.
Very true. But I just think it's not fair. It's just not fair to Eli to do that. It's not fair to Eli to do, especially in the situation like and let him ride it out. Like look at the team. That team's built to win now. That's the thing. Look at the defense. Their
absolutely.
Defense is insane. I mean, you look at their front seven. You look at Apple, Collins, Thompson in the secondary.
Yeah, but let's contrast what you were talking about with Jamal Adams and his hype and Janoris Jenkins, Rodgers, Cromartie, and Apple being probably the biggest prima donnas in football this year, being babies, missing meetings. I can't get there on time. Like, come on now, you're pros. You make millions. You have someone drive you.
I think that's like that's like when coaches, you don't want to hear it, and coaches hold their star players accountable because things like this matter. Like
except for Odell. Except for Odell, he wasn't held accountable by anyone.
That's true.
Not even Coughlin. Coughlin didn't hold him for nothing.
But did you see the video that Odell posted of him the actions he had on the sideline, the pouting, whatever you want to call it, screaming at the coaches, screaming at the rest, and then he compares it to Tom Brady, and Tom Brady literally has done the exact thing throughout his career.
All right, but you want to know what everyone's going to say, and I can tell you it's going to be analysts, it'll be me here, it'll be other players. Tom Brady, when he holds his hand up, he's doing a pull-up. That's how many rings the dude has, and that's how heavy, he's doing an arm curl. Odell needs to get some hardware before he starts acting that way. Listen, but you know what? Also, Tom Brady does it, and no one looks at him wrong on his own team. They all look more motivated because nobody wants to let Tom Brady down. He's the GOAT. He is the greatest quarterback of all time. Odell's one of the best receivers of our time. There's a huge difference between those two. You know what? Tom gets away with a lot more in every single way in football. But you know what, Odell? You got to do more than be the best receiver for 1-2 years. You got to bring a chip to Big Blue on your back, like Jerry Rice did in San Francisco. Other great receivers have done. Michael Irving with the Cowboys, he was a big part of that.
True.
So it's dudes earn that right. Odell needs to earn that right to be more of a prima donna. Tom Brady has.
See, the thing that I'll say, I can agree with that. I can agree with that because there's always this argument that's been said, as far as if you're ranking the best players in the league, Odell's, he's not the number, because you can say Julio, is more consistent. He's had more numbers. Antonio Brown, he's more consistent, had more numbers. But Odell's probably that third, fourth receiver spot as far as good as it goes in
absolutely. Talent-wise, he's the most. Production-wise, he's probably right there at third, like you said.
But the thing is, if you look at popularity, if you go strictly off popularity, who's the biggest face in the NFL? Who's most known? If you see their face, they're gonna be known. It's Tom Brady, and then it's Odell Beckham Jr. So
and maybe Gronk. Throw Gronk in there. Everyone knows his big dumb face.
True. People do know him.
Listen, he has Gronk Island. Come on now.
That's true. That is true. He is pretty. But it's just the way that Odell is. The way he's the spot he has in the media, the way he's with other things, the way his Nike endorsements, he wears a lot of Supreme. Me and our friend Doc were big Supreme guys, and
you guys are Supreme boys.
But it's who he is. The hair, everything that all comes into it, and that's where I feel more of his respect is demanded. That's why he can sit there and be I want to be the highest paid player, period, because he brings that kind of attention towards whatever team he's on, towards the wide receiver position. There's kids who are strictly going to want to play wide receiver because of Odell Beckham Jr. That's the reason.
Absolutely. But let's throw this difference in there, though. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady did that on the field, on the sideline, heat of the game. Odell did his stuff on the sideline, heat of the game, whatever. What has Tom Brady done outside of the heat of the game that has ever drawn a negative effect on his team?
True. That is.
There you go. And if you want to make a better comparison, I know Odell talked about it. We could talk about Cam Newton and Tom Brady, and how Cam Newton will get mad on the sideline. And everyone's like, "Oh, he's a thug." Bottom line, they say it because he's a black quarterback, and we're still not ready for black quarterbacks to do big things. We're not ready for that. It's sad. Yeah. It really is sad. We've had people make a big deal. Doug Williams, I don't even know what year he won as a black quarterback with the Redskins, but it's it's been done. It's not surprising. It shouldn't be a big deal. Come on now.
That was I'll give you a perfect example. So at my job, I work at a Dick's Sporting Goods near FDU. So I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he's saying how he's talking about quarterbacks. He's talking about young quarterbacks, and he's like, I just don't like some of these young quarterbacks. I don't like how they're he was saying mobile quarterbacks. That's what he was alluding to. So I'm like, okay. So I asked him about, I asked him about.
You mean he's talking about Alex Smith, right? Alex Smith ran for 70.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm talking to him, and I asked him about Wentz, and he's like, oh, he's good. He moves around the pocket. He just needs some time to develop.
Wentz runs a psycho.
So then I asked him about Cam Newton. He's like, he just doesn't have that touch. And then he goes as far as to say, he says, like Vic, he just doesn't have that touch. He can throw the ball a mile, but doesn't have the touch. So then I asked him about Russell Wilson. He has the same thing to say. So I think this thing about black quarterbacks is
what about Jameis Winston and Warren Moon? We can go historical. who can people can't argue. Warren Moon is one of the best throwers of the football ever to play the game. And it's like Steve McNair, who passed on too early. Warren Moon, Steve McNair, they weren't mobile quarterbacks. They were pocket passers. Jameis Winston is a current pocket passer.
Exactly.
You have guys like David Garrard wasn't the best of all time, but he was a pocket passer. He wasn't a runner. So it's like
Culpepper wasn't running too much either.
Early Culpepper ran a little bit, but a lot of young guys, I don't care if they're mobile or not, young quarterbacks come out and run because they're young, they got young bones, they don't know what an NFL hit is yet. So it's like they come out like, I feel like all young quarterbacks are mobile unless they're like Ryan Mallett, who has to figure out how to pass first.
Yeah. Mallett's a fun player to watch. College Mallett, that's a fun player.
College Tim Tebow was fun too.
Yeah. I think the best college kid who was just something he was crazy in college and then he's just gonna come into the league and hopefully he develops well, and I really hope so. Patrick Mahomes, he's somebody that I really hope gets his chance to really step in, because I think he can really be one of those guys who just steps in, replaces, and does a good job. But it all depends.
And Patrick Mahomes, good thing you speak on him. He's a really good example of he wants to throw the ball first.
Yep.
He has physical abilities. He's athletic, but you're never going to talk about Patrick Mahomes and say, well, he has great running. No, you talk about Patrick Mahomes as a freaking cannon. Yeah. The first thing you hear is the man has a cannon. But is he have the ability to be mobile? Yeah, he has the ability to be mobile, but he's a passer first.
Exactly.
No one talks about Marcus Mariota that he doesn't have the touch. Marcus Mariota is one of the fastest quarterbacks in the NFL, and he does run a lot. No one talks about him in the same sense as Cam Newton. Why? Because he's white and from Oregon? Come on.
True.
But
go ahead.
No, go for it. You.
The only thing I was gonna say in Mariota is he's it's a smaller market, and some of the other quarterbacks are small markets too, but I just feel like Tennessee, they're always going to sneak up on you. They're just one of those teams that you're never going to expect much from. So it's a little easier for him to develop there and not have to worry about too much. Just like I feel like Mahomes might get that chance in Kansas City, but look at Watson. Watson's a perfect example of somebody who, I think a smaller market definitely helps younger quarterbacks. That's the best thing. Being a smaller market is gonna benefit you just because
the pressure isn't the same.
Exactly. It's different though. If you're Dak and you're expected to win because you're on your Sunday Night Football every week, then it's different. Or Fox every week. But when you're at a Tennessee, a Kansas City, a team, if you're Teddy Bridgewater, that's an opportunity for greatness there. But then, Case Keenum steps up, and it is what it is.
Hey, maybe Bridge is our next Jets quarterback. Relax.
Yeah, hopefully.
Let's just start campaigning for that. Teddy for the Jets. Let's do this right now. But the kind of last word on the quarterback thing from me, people love to I'll bring up Cam again. When Cam pouts, when Cam does his thing, everyone brings up his immaturity and all this leadership issues. Has anyone ever looked at Jay Cutler since he's come into the NFL? Ain't no one talking about his immaturity. Ain't no one talking about they talk about he's not passionate, but no one talks about his immaturity. He's a lack of a leader. When he was in Denver initially, everyone's like, "Oh, Jay Cutler's the dude. He leads the team well." Yeah, he doesn't show his emotions, but whatever. So he can pout and do what he wants, and that's cool. Cam Newton does it, and it's like, oh, word, we got to get this dude in line again. Come on now.
Yeah, I think that's something that, that's just, it's wrong, but it's going to happen, and it's something that, hopefully we'll see a change in it as more, as we get more, I hate to say diverse. But let's be real here too. It's not only the white analysts. It's a lot of these. We watch ESPN and whatever. A lot of these black analysts too are sitting there going, it's his image. Same thing, and it's wait, hold up, y'all. Are you told to say this? Come on. It's just the speak. And it's when you look at it, and it's ridiculous. Even though Marvin, what is it? Marvin Williams? What's his name over in Cincinnati? He's gonna get fired this year. There's no doubt in my mind. He's gonna get Lewis. He's gonna get fired, and we know they're gonna make it a race thing. But real football fans know, he should have been fired 5 years ago. The Bengals have been the same team since he's got them. Mm-hmm. They just can't win big games. That's it. There was the 1 year, wasn't there, where they had a. I don't want to be wrong here, but there was I think 2 years ago, where they were competing for the division. That was they were pretty good.
Then I think Dalton got hurt. something like that. I think he might have gotten injured.
That's what I think it was.
But you know what, though? There's those years, but then there's the years where they're literally the best teams in football, and they still have Chad Johnson, a young Andy Dalton, and then they let the Jets with Mark Sanchez beat them. Like, you don't do that. Like I think Lewis is going to be fired. It's going to be deserved, but we're going to hear a lot more nonsense than we need to hear about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whenever you see any black coach go, that automatically comes up. And you know, sometimes it's less deserved. Sometimes
absolutely, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But you know, though, speaking of great coaches, I don't care, black, white, whatever. Herm Edwards going to Arizona State. I'm a Sun Devils fan right now because Herm Edwards is that dude, and I cannot wait to see. Like, he's such a college coach with the way he acts. I can't wait to see what Arizona State does under him.
I mean, you got to think about that. Imagine being, you know, you're a kid. Because I think about most of the kids that are coming in. Like, imagine being a freshman.
Hello.
You committed to Arizona State. You got all. I mean, you're literally, those kids are 4th grade, 5th grade, maybe. Like, I mean, they're younger than I was, and I remember looking, you know, play to win the game, all that.
Yep.
Even you watch him on what was he on CBS? I guess whenever he was doing his.
Yeah, and he's been on NFL Live, I think, now for a while on ESPN. So it's like.
You just see him, and it's just, you know, he's a face, he's an icon. Like, how can you not want to get up?
They're going to get recruits.
Exactly.
Oh, they're going to get so many great recruits.
And Herm Edwards is calling me, telling me to come play for him. Guess where I'm going?
Yo, could you imagine picking up the phone? Hello, come and win the game. Come to Arizona State and win the game.
I'm telling you, Herm, that's a good situation. That's just something where I feel like a college saw an opportunity. Herm obviously wasn't done with it, so he still wanted to, you know, he still wanted a shot. You know, and hopefully he'll have some success. That'll be good.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot right now. Super Bowl pick right now. Who you got?
All right. So this was something that I was just talking about with Joe, friend Joe Haggett. Shout out Joe.
Little Joe Haggett, what up, kid?
Yeah.
There he is.
So I'm thinking I'm going with the Steelers. I think this is a team where, despite the Shazier incident, they're still going to find a way to rally. But I'm saying it's Steelers Eagles. It's going to be Steelers Eagles. It's going to be a close game. The boss is going to win the game on a field goal, like he's been doing all year.
The boss.
In these close games. But I mean,
so the Eagles fans, you're still going to torture the Eagles fans. They're going to get there again, and you're still going to torture them like that.
It's funny because Mike just walked in. He was a huge Eagles fan, and we've been sitting here watching the Eagles almost every chance I got after Sunday. I'll come here and watch it with them. And when they absolutely embarrassed the Cowboys on Sunday night or Monday night, whenever it was just, you know, it's a big year for Eagles fans. Like, it's something to be happy about. But the thing I'll say about both teams, as good as the teams are, now we'll see, because now it's getting to the nitty gritty of both of their schedules, where you're going to see the Steelers. Yeah. The Steelers have. I'm gonna look up the schedule. I just saw they have a couple tough games left, but the Eagles.
Well, they play the Ravens coming up.
Yeah, that's what I would say. The Ravens with the Steelers, we'll see how that ends up, because the Ravens have been picking up, and the Eagles, when they play, you see what happened this week with the Seahawks.
They got the Rams, they got Giants, they got Raiders, they got Cowboys. Like, they got a tough schedule too.
That's what I'm saying. The Rams, finishing off with the Rams, is going to be that's the game that I'm ready to see, because they've been, you know, a lot of the argument for them has been it's a weak schedule. I mean, if you look at it, they haven't really had the toughest ways to get in. It's hard to win football games in the NFL. Like, we know that, but their road hasn't been outside of Cam. Weak Chargers team when they played them. I guess you can make that argument, and then the Cowboys maybe. Everything else has pretty much been not the toughest of teams. So we'll see. But I still think that they'll be able to pull it along, because it's just something about a team like that. You got Jenkins, you got Wentz, you got Nelson Aguilar and
Nelson Aguilar. Ever think that dude was about to get cut if he didn't have a good year?
Yep.
Who knew that guy was going to have the year that he has?
I mean, but it's the same. Go ahead.
Scary though. I was going to pick the Eagles. I can't pick them after watching that Seahawks game. I can't. This is not the Super Bowl Seahawks team. That is not their Super Bowl defense. There is cracks in that team. Thomas Rawls is not beast mode. Like, whoever is they're running. I don't even know who their running back is. And they beat up the Eagles pretty well. That scares me. So I backed up. I'm putting the Vikings in there. I think Case Keenum does his best Wonder Boy impression. And that defense is unbelievable. That running game with Dalvin Cook being hurt, who Dalvin Cook was on his way to Rookie of the Year earlier this year with the way he was running the ball. Dalvin Cook being hurt, but he's found Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is just when did Ed McCaffrey come back to life? Like, I know Ed McCaffrey's kid's playing ball right now, but his dad is back on the field. His name's Adam Thielen. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, they're a fun team to watch. It's just like I said, small market, so nobody expects it. It's Minnesota. They get in the playoffs.
Minnesota's got fans. They got fans everywhere. Vikings got fans everywhere.
Absolutely.
Not as big as some other teams, but they travel well.
Very true. Very true. But like, it's just you get those teams where, you know, the Moss teams and then the Carter years and then of course the year where they were both together and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna win. But you know, since Favre, I would say you haven't really expected them to do much. Since you had Favre AP, you haven't really seen too much expectations from the Vikings because there was a quarterback issue. Then
and that's exactly why the Vikings are going to shock the world and get into the Super Bowl. But unfortunately for them, they're going to be playing the Steelers' Achilles heel. I hate to say it. They're going to be playing the Patriots.
Yeah, we can't leave if you talk about Super Bowls, you can't leave Brady.
Exactly, and you know, and I was going to pick the Steelers. I really was. And I thought Shazier is the captain of that defense. They look lost without him. They probably shouldn't have won that game. They look lost. Yeah. So I think that you can't be lost against the Patriots. And also, you know, the Patriots, when it comes to playoffs, they flip a switch, and they have been the Steelers' Achilles heel. If the Steelers have to even see the Patriots, if they don't lose early, it's going to be Pat's Vikings, and Tom Brady's going to be holding up another Lombardi. It's ridiculous.
It's just the teams. The Patriots are a team where, like, all right, in our we have these Madden leagues that I've been playing in, and you know, you put a little money in here, play this one, play the other one for fun. And I have the Patriots in two of the leagues, and when you look at the team, it's just insane. Like, it makes no sense to have that much. Like, they draft so well, the defense is formed so well. Like, everyone, you know, Butler's a superstar. You got Harmon in the secondary. You got Chung, Chung is a nickel defensive back. Like, he's a nickel corner in their defense, and he's a starter on pretty much almost any other team in the league. So I mean, it's just insane when you look at how deep they are at like every position. I look at the running back position. The running back position's crazy. Like, there's so many options. Belichick, what he does, it works. It's proven to work. Look at the receiving core. Like, you have 4 receivers who are all slot guys. They all do exactly what Brady needs to do. You got a developing superstar in Cooks. Like, it just doesn't get much better. Being a Jets fan, you know how bad that is for us. Like, this is just
it hurts.
Constant tormenting of a franchise who's just so well developed, and
they won't stop until Brady's gone and Belichick retires. Like, they will not stop. It's just not gonna happen. I don't think Brady's gonna regress. He doesn't regress.
Exactly. He's 40, and he's the best player. Like, he's the best player in the NFL.
With Aaron Rodgers being hurt, yeah. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, Aaron Rodgers is the best player in the NFL. But now Aaron Rodgers, he might be coming back in 2 weeks, so we'll see. Yeah. But Rodgers is the best player in the NFL when he's healthy.
Yeah, true. He's literally willing them to win. Like, the Packers are winning games.
If they're in the playoff hunt and Rodgers gets in, I might have to. If the Packers get in, I might have to change my pick from Vikings to Packers. Like,
yeah, that's true. A healthy Rodgers, if he's coming back and he's throwing the ball how we're used to Aaron Rodgers playing football and winning games, then can't take it. Because I mean, they're still competing with
Brett Hundley.
And I'm not.
Devontae Adams is having a great year with Brett Hundley. Are you kidding me?
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. It's not like Hundley's not. He's one of those Mahomes players where he just, with some time, he could be really good. But for right now, he's just thrown in the fire.
Yeah, but Hundley, I think, honestly, Hundley's Matt Castle. He has a great team around him. He's just putting up the ball and he's making plays. You put Hundley on another team, I never thought Hundley was going to be anything. I don't think he's still going to be anything.
Maybe not. He's just one of. You know what? And this is the same thing. I feel like you see Pac-10 quarterbacks. I don't know how I feel about Pac-10 quarterbacks. That's just something I just because
they play out in the sun all day, and then you take them into weather, and they don't know how to throw a football. Mark Sanchez, like, come on now, Mark Sanchez, Matt Leinart. The only one that's had any sort of success was Carson Palmer. Everyone else is just kind of like, John Elway. He was a sunny guy, and he came and played well, obviously. But like, come on.
for the most part, it's just you just don't see it that much. Like, I mean, you look at Rosen and you look at Darnold that are coming out this year, and it's almost hard to get excited.
And I like Baker, Mason Rudolph, and a bunch of other guys better than them. Like, you just look at it.
See, the thing I think is unfair about Baker, though, when we talk about him, is the Manziel comparisons.
And we're talking about Baker Mayfield, by the way, just so people know.
Baker Mayfield,
Oklahoma quarterback, going to be the Heisman winner.
And I mean, there's a lot of Jets fans like Joe who are, they're
big Baker guy.
So, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's always going to be, I mean, I'm not going to say he wouldn't be the guy. He couldn't do it for us, but I just want to give him a chance. Give the guy. Don't start calling.
Now, are you going to call character issues with him with his little hand gesture that got him early suspension for one of the games? It was funny. It was hilarious that what he did. Like, if you guys don't know, I'm not going to describe it here because we're a family-friendly podcast. But go look up Baker Mayfield and why he was suspended if you're interested. I found it comical. Obviously, he was going to get some sort of reprimand. He deserved it. Pretty funny, though.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that stuff that happens in college football. Like, guys, you're playing football. You're trying to, I guess, get your opponent.
Mikey Mitchell, it's a man's sport.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The kids playing the game, so he's just not, he's being competitive. They're playing. Who's that? Who are they playing? They're playing.
I don't even know who they were playing. Right? Yeah, it was Kansas. They were taking cheap shots on him all game, and it just finally had enough. He had enough.
And they didn't shake hands. The captains didn't.
Captains. It was ridiculous.
And then he was like, that was the game where he told them to go play basketball and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, it's college football. Like, what do you want the kids to do? The kids playing with passion. Like,
I mean, he got Blake Griffin sitting there going, "I played for y'all. Calm down." Like,
exactly. But he's just. Hey, it's I feel like it's somebody who's fun to watch. I feel like if he comes in and he does well in the NFL, it's going to be a storyline that some people are going to like it, some people are going to like him. He's going to be. I don't want to compare him to Odell, but it's going to be very similar in how he.
I think Josh Rosen is more like Odell because Josh Rosen already all up on social media, just craziness.
Yeah,
Josh Rosen is. I read one tweet from him. It's like, people need to stop putting up fake news about me. I haven't made a decision. I'm getting calls from friends and family. Stop making this harder. It's like, dude, you played football as a quarterback. You wanted to start him. Now you're getting in. You're whining about it on social media. Like, don't play quarterback for UCLA. Sorry, bro. Like,
and like, I think because before, I don't remember who was the quarterback. I'm gonna look it up. I'm not sure who the quarterback was before Hundley. But I just feel like UCLA isn't a place. Like, okay, yeah, USC, we know that's a place where you're gonna typically get quarterbacks from.
But but not
UCLA,
great.
Yeah, that's not. You never. I feel like maybe he thought he wasn't gonna get that sort of attention because he wasn't going to an ACC school or an SEC school.
It's UCLA. They're a traditional power in every sense of the word.
True. That's. I mean, they're gonna be pretty. I mean, look at Miles Jack. Look at.
Every year they're ranked higher than they should be just on the fact that their name is UCLA.
True. That is true. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's not much I can say.
There's really nothing
you're a quarterback playing Division I football. You're on TV every week. Like, what else do you expect? But
and you're one of the top 2 picks in the draft. Come on.
You know me, Alex. I'm for the players. I'm always for the players. Whatever the players say. I'm a Sherman guy.
I'm for the players until they're whining, though. It's like, stop. Listen, Rob, this is the difference. I've been a coach as well. You've only been a player. So for me, I look at it, and it's like, man, if you just do what I tell you to do, it's really not that hard. Y'all make this harder on yourselves.
Speaking of coaches, I just said it. This is somewhere where people like, shout out to Coach Fence, doing a great job.
Coach Fence, New Egypt.
Stephen Fence, New Egypt High School, New Jersey. Best coach, one of the best coaches I've ever had outside of Alex Cuesta, obviously. But this is a great guy, great team, division winner. Actually, I need to check on how they did in their state playoff, their little run they had.
But Coach and branching on that, Coach Fence is a good friend of my family. I've literally known him probably most of my life. My uncle coached with him for 20 years. So Steve Fence. Doing a ridiculous job over at New Egypt. Amazing coach, one of the best offensive minds in the state of New Jersey, definitely. So
easily.
If not, I'll put him up nationally against anyone. The man's a genius. So, but real talk, Rob, we went really, really far over with football talk. We were gonna do basketball stuff. We're still gonna do it, but we're gonna do a little more quick hits. All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, real quick, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma. We have Colton. Shout out to you again. You and your terrible sports choices. You're a Lakers fan. He loves Lonzo Ball. I do not love Lonzo Ball. They have another rookie named Kyle Kuzma on that team. Kyle Kuzma is the better of the two rookies in my eyes. Who would you take, Lonzo or Kyle?
I'm taking right now. I'm taking Kyle, but I believe that Lonzo will develop. I'm a huge UCLA Lonzo guy. Like, I'm coming in, I'm watching. I've watched this.
You ain't got no more balls at UCLA anymore. They're all out. They're in Europe.
They're done. That situation is what it is. I mean, LeVar's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Hey, LeVar did hug it out with Embiid.
He did. That's good to see. LeVar and Embiid are two personalities that I would love to see together, be in the same room as. That's something
that's a reality show.
Exactly. But
you're taking Kyle now?
Kuzma now, but I feel like he stays. I feel like he's going to be stagnant. I feel like he's going to kind of be that same maybe 12, 15 point player. Like, he'll have his explosive dunks or something like that. But then I just feel like he kind of stays there. I feel like Lonzo, he's a player who plays well in the spotlight, and there's a lot of NBA players backing him up. Like, Steph Curry's not saying compare his first 20 games and mine, and see the similarities. I hope you didn't judge me off that. Like, you're not going to get that kind of,
Yeah, but Steph Curry was the best three-point shooter in the game the moment he stepped on the floor. Lonzo Ball can't even shoot a three.
He's struggling at the moment, and I think it's a matter of maybe he needs, maybe he didn't need to come out and be as good. Obviously, he didn't need to come out and be better than Steph Curry and LeBron. Like, I don't think anybody expected that to happen. But I think he needed this for him to just, not have that superstar, thought going through his head all the time. Let him calm down. Let him fall into the NBA game. Let it come slowly. Because, I mean, we've seen the spurts. We've seen the triple-double. We've seen double-doubles. I mean, his stat lines aren't awful, but they're not what I don't think we're saying Lonzo Ball Rookie of the Year right now.
Lonzo Ball, for me, you look at it, his ceiling is Rajon Rondo. His floor is Ricky Rubio. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's ever going to be that. He's not going to be Russell. He's not going to be James. He's not going to get a triple-double with 30, 13, and 12. You'll never see that. You're going to get, unless – I know they have Jason Kidd comparisons. God bless him. If he could develop a clutch J, maybe. He sees the floor really well. I see Kyle Kuzma's ceiling as Klay Thompson, which Klay Thompson is a legitimate star in the NBA and one of the best shooters.
True.
That's the way I see Kuzma.
I can see it, and the reason why I say that is because I can see it is because if you look at Booker in his rookie season, I feel like any rookie who's gonna have that superstar potential has those breakout games. Like, look at Booker's rookie year, and I mean, you got there's 30-point games in there. There's the 25-point game. There's the double-double game in there. And even though
Rob,
he's finding ways.
Kuzma's averaging 16.2 points, along with 6.3 rebounds, 37, almost 38% from three, while shooting 50% from the field, and that's in 30 minutes a game.
That is true. He hasn't.
Come on now. He's being a beast.
True.
He's beasting.
But he's also a slasher type. Okay, he's a less athletic Tatum. I think that's the way that I would describe.
With
it
more body, though, he's already ready for the NBA. Tatum needs to put on some weight.
Yeah, true. Tatum is a little undersized, but that's one off season's worth. Like, that's Blake Griffin.
Probably.
Blake Griffin went from like that first Lob City year to the second year when he gained like.
All right,
10,
but Griffin with that
pounds.
weight also brought on injuries. So if you put on too much on that frame, Griffin is not the superstar he was because he can't stay healthy.
True. That is an issue with Blake, which is sad because I was a Blake guy. Well, I still am kind of a Blake guy, but
Derrick Rose needs to have surgery again. That his career is over, and he's one of the great players of our time in a quick second, but it's tough.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I think after last year with the Knicks, when he just kind of disappeared that one game,
he did it again with Cleveland. So
yeah, I don't. That's sad too because you got to look at how good he was. Like, that's unfortunate.
I mean, he was arguably the MVP that year. I still think LeBron's the MVP every single year. They just decide to give it to other people,
someone else,
because they get tired of giving it to him.
Let's be clear. This year, at the moment, right now, the MVP, which I think is like one of the next points we're going to talk about.
Say it, because I agree with you. Say it.
James Harden.
James Harden. And we
James
argued last year till no end about this. This year, I completely agree, because this year he's doing everything.
He's literally like, I saw like on Instagram, just scrolling, like I woke up one morning and just they posted the stats and they were talking. You know, I've watched. I watched them when they played the Knicks, and James Harden is just insane. Like, Frank's good, the Knicks point guard, the rookie point
Frank's
guard.
good at defense.
But he's not guarding James Harden. Uncle James is good, and he's getting better. And this year, most points in the league, most assists in the league. Like, he's legitimately doing everything, and he's the reason why the Rockets are relevant.
You want to know the difference I see? I haven't watched as much of him, I'll admit. When I watch him, he's actually giving a little bit of an effort on defense.
Yep.
Like, who got into him that said, listen, you're still going to score. You could be a little more tired. It's cool. Don't worry about it. Like,
yeah, I think that's just a matter of being a leader on the team. Like, he's the guy now, and part of being the guy is playing all around. But
I also think that's CP3, because CP3 is undersized, and he always played defense. Always. He got beat up sometimes, but he always played.
That's true. And I think D'Antoni, as much of a offensive guy as he is, and as much as he probably at first was not encouraging, but
he don't care about defense.
Blind eye towards Harden.
Have you seen the Suns? He didn't care. Those Suns, they didn't play any defense. I think Steve Nash got yelled at when he tried to play defense. Come on now.
Because he got hurt to shoot threes. But it's just, you got to look at, you got Capella. He's playing. He's going to always give you good minutes. Like, you got Trevor, who's always going to go and give you good minutes. It's just a team that's well built around the fact that James Harden can pick and choose when he needs to play defense and when he's just going to give you 50. So I think that's where it's an interesting team, but it works. And I cannot call myself a Rockets fan as much as I would like to right now. But being a Knicks fan isn't a bad situation either, because it's a better season than we expected.
Oh, and right before we hop onto that, I'll just say one thing. So Harden's starting to play like, LeBron, doing what the team needs when the team needs it. That's how we're going to leave that one. Let people think about that and LeBron.
Maybe.
But talking about that, yeah, we'll move right on. The Knicks, the friggin' Latvian unicorn has grabbed this team. It is his team. If no one saw it, I actually wrote an article about this in the blog about how he is making the Garden Mecca again. It is the Mecca of basketball one more time, because people want to watch the Knicks play. Rob, how do you feel right now being a Knicks fan? You want to go to the Garden and watch a game? Like, Knicks, what's up?
Well, I'll give you a perfect. I was actually at the Oakley incident last year when the Knicks played.
That's awesome.
So me and my boy Mari from Pace, when I was going to Pace, we got real cheap tickets. It was like $20 to get in the Garden, which is unheard of. Like, that just doesn't happen.
I'm surprised they didn't pay you with the way they were playing last year.
Yeah, exactly. So we get in, and this is a hell team. There's Carmelo. There's
D Rose, Joakim Noah,
everyone. Ron Baker.
Ron Baker.
Baker.
Ron Baker. Surfer boy on the basketball court.
We go see, and it's a good game. The Knicks, Melo's playing well. Porzingis is playing well, but Porzingis was just coming off an injury.
Yep.
So, he comes in the fourth, and they bring him in. He's brought in with like 4 minutes left. And he's immediately taking shots to try to seal the game. Like, Carmelo's the attention's all on Carmelo, because literally no one else can score, because Carmelo has 35 points at this point, and now he can't hit anything.
Probably with 40 shots, too.
Yeah. And now we're giving the ball, we're feeding Porzingis, expecting him cold to make these shots to put the game away, and it's just not happening.
Exactly.
Now, this is the thing that I've been arguing with the Knicks, which I think is huge. You have Carmelo, who's a 3/4, and you have Porzingis, who's a 7'2", 3/4, which doesn't make any sense. But the amount of space that he takes up on the floor, him and Carmelo being on the floor at the same time, there's just not enough space for two people who can score 40 if they really want to do that. And it just doesn't work. And I feel like now that Porzingis has a more spread floor, there's no Carmelo, there's no demanded 20-plus points that has to be had, he has more room to work with. And everyone knows this is the guy. There's no confusion between, should we let Melo score 20-plus, or do we let Porzingis score this amount, or force them into bad situations? Like, the team's more balanced, and it's showing.
And the beauty, too, is a guy like Enes Kanter, who, his whole entire shtick in Oklahoma City was he can score really well. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't do much else. He came to the Knicks. He turned that all around. He's there. He's the reason why I think he's the main cog why Porzingis can do what he does. Because Kanter goes down there, he bangs, he gets rebounds. Porzingis doesn't have to be down there on offense and defense banging for those rebounds all the time now. He can actually, like you said, space the floor, hang out by the arc, slash, do things more like a 3 would do or a stretch 4, where Kanter could just stand down there, bang with the bigs, get his putbacks. Oh, and if you give it to him on the block, he's still going to score because he has a great offensive repertoire. So it's like he's made all the difference. Doug McDermott shooting threes. I love Courtney Lee. I think he's one of the best glue guys in the league. The dude plays defense and makes open threes. What else do you want?
True. Lee, I mean, that's in Kylo Quinn. Kylo Quinn's another one.
Kylo Quinn's pure effort.
Hard minutes.
Pure effort.
That's I think in another one we can't exclude Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway has had games where you're thinking like, okay, this guy.
He ain't his daddy. He ain't his daddy.
No.
He ain't his daddy. He's never going to be his daddy.
But I'm going to tell you that when, Porzingis having an off night, give it to Timmy. Give it to Timmy. Timmy's going to make something good happen.
Timmy's an upgrade over J.R. Smith because he's not going to make a stupid play, and he's streaky. He's literally J.R. Smith without the dumb plays. He's streaky. He can score in every which way. He can give you a whole lot of points, and other nights he disappears.
True. I'll give him, but I just like the fact that he's not the Tim that we had before, before he left and came back. This is a new and improved Tim, and this is what as a Knicks fan you got to be happy with it. You got to be happy. There's like you said, there's the off nights. There's nights where you can't expect the world out of him, but I feel like you mentioned with Courtney Lee and Doug McDermott, it gets picked up in other places. That's the best thing about it. Like, I think the biggest thing with Kanter is he's obviously that's the best pickup with that ended up working out.
Dude just wants to fight people. He already said it when he was hurt. He told him, "Go fight someone. I'll back you up. I'll pay that fine." Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's something like, why wouldn't you want that in New York? That gives you that that Starks, New York. That gives you that Oakley, New York. That kind of attitude is the kind of thing that it works here because everybody loves the whole blue collar New Yorker. They're gonna
the word that comes to mind is grit. And I also want to bring it back to my favorite team, the Nets. The Nets, they have won 10 games in, what is it, December 7th they won it yesterday against the Thunder. They didn't win 10 games till March 1st last year.
Yeah.
And this is a team without D'Lo playing, without Jeremy Lin playing. We were down Trevor Booker last night. I'm going to miss you, Booker, because he just got traded, and he was pure grit as well. We dropped Sean Kilpatrick. I'm going to miss Sean, too. He was a great player for us. But pure grit, that's how they win. They're not super talented. They're just straight up gritty. And I'm pumped with my Nets. I don't have much to say about them. Spencer Dinwiddie's becoming a legitimate star. But, my Nets have just been playing a lot better. And I think the Knicks and Nets are kind of mirroring each other where they're kind of back to basics, figuring out who they are. Obviously, the Knicks have a superstar, so they have someone to build around. The Nets need to find that. But, they just made the trade for Okafor. We could see if he can.
Huge.
Oh, yeah. We have we have number 2 and 3 from the 2015 draft on our roster. If they pan out, great. If not, we didn't waste anything really for them. So it's like, I'm pumped about it. I think the Nets are great. And moving on to a great team, let's talk about the Warriors real quick. I don't want to go too long on them, but they became the fun team. They were the fun team to watch. They were shooting threes, splash bros, having a great time. To all of a sudden, they hate everyone. Literally, if you're not a Golden State fan, they hate you. Period. And I don't mind that type of hatred on the floor. Like, you know what? I think people are supposed to be competing. They shouldn't like each other on the floor. But when it comes to the fact that they just seem super immature. Kevin Durant with his trying to fight Boogie Cousins, which I'm sorry, KD, you're going to lose that one literally every time. Do not go at Boogie.
Yeah, Boogie doesn't care.
Boogie don't care. Boogie will get suspended for half a year and be like, I'm straight. I got my money. I'm going to go chill. Like, Boogie doesn't care. And also, like, Curry getting ejected. And it's like Draymond kicking people in the crotch constantly. Like they just got to grow up. And I think Steve Kerr is like, this is just showing that Steve Kerr hasn't coached a minute on that team because he has no control of anything that they're doing.
And To an extent, I'll agree. Because I think the Warriors this year, like what they've done is they've taken. Okay, you had Draymond, who wasn't a bad guy necessarily. You never saw him like doing anything that was too bad.
No, besides groin kicks. Groin kicks was worse.
Yeah, that was and up to that point, like he was just playing hard,
and it was kind of funny. Not gonna lie.
He was a chippy. He was just a chippy guy, like chippy NBA player.
Yeah,
something you want on your team. Then you get this whole Kevin Durant thing, and then it changes the whole like mantra of the team to this. Oh, we have this evil guy. He's the villain of the league, kind of thing. And at first, it was like, oh, KD's like playing the victim. But then now, like you see on Twitter, you see KD responding to people saying, I'm not going to take it. I'm responding to people. You can't just talk to me any kind of way, which I guess is okay to a certain point.
No, KD. We'll go back to Josh Rosen. Yeah, they can. You decided to be a professional athlete. So, yes, they can. And these people, fans of your team or not, are still the reason why you exist. Without the fans and without the game of basketball, you aren't the superstar of the world.
True.
So, come on.
I think the thing is, I just feel like that attitude has just been taken, and you're not going to have Steph Curry sitting there telling Kevin Durant, you need to relax, you need to stop doing this. You're not going to have Steph Curry.
That's because Steph Curry's not the best player on that team anymore. That's
exactly.
why.
And, I mean, and like you said, Kerr has been there. Has he really? I don't think like a team like that coaches himself. Like Steve Kerr's a great dude.
Well, yeah, when he was out, Luke Walton did nothing, and that team still like come on, like it's just what it is. They're that good.
Mm-hmm. They're a team that coaches itself. You got 30 points You got 30 points on 4 parts of the floor at any point in time. So that's the thing where he's in a situation where he wins. That's why he's gonna have job security. If he was at another team and it was similar attitude problems, he would have been fired a long time ago because he's just not shown that ability.
Well, look at the Kings. Look at George Karl and the Kings.
Yep.
They weren't winning. They had talent. They weren't winning. There was attitude issues. They didn't get along with anybody. They hated him, even though he's a great coach, and he got fired because of it.
Yeah, that's how it goes. If you show you can't control your team, you get fired. But when you're the Golden State Warriors and you win games and you have some like insane amount of tech, then they pass their they've for the last 3 years their technicals and ejections are it was like at 70 or something, and they've already like passed that by like 10 or 8 or something crazy. It's just ridiculous.
Man, you gotta love the sports world though, because now look at this. The villain all this time before this, when the Warriors were coming up in fun, was LeBron. Now LeBron is the man that's gonna come and save the day and take out these bunch of immature punks.
Right.
If he's gonna come and be the hero once again. Like the sports are ridiculous. Even though, mark my words, if they don't shape up themselves, they might not make it to the finals because these refs will not hesitate to put themselves in the game in the playoffs. They've done it before.
Yeah.
Draymond only got ejected a little bit, which he deserved. He kicked someone in the groin. You don't do that, you jerk. But like straight up, you don't do that. Especially, but it's like they're not going to take Curry. They're not going to take Durant. They're not taking LeBron arguing with them anymore. It seems like he got ejected.
Yeah,
so it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and I could see the Rockets are the prime team that, Curry might get ejected 2 games because he decides to get up in a ref's face. Sean Livingston got ejected, who's one of the nicest people on the friggin' planet.
Exactly.
And Sean Livingston gets ejected. Even though that ref put his head into him, but I digress.
I feel like that's true. The playoffs is going to be a telltale time. They're going to have to get there, to act together, and that's when Kerr's really going to see it. That's when he's going to have to keep them because
that's when he makes his money.
There's going to be teams that are going to go after them on purpose. They're purposely going to, pick Draymond, pick a KD. There's going to.
Yo, where's Patrick Beverly at? Where's Patrick Beverly at? Go get up in their grill. Where's Patrick Beverly at? Where's Joel? Just have Joel traded to a Western Conference team for the playoffs.
But I mean, that's the kind of thing that at least it's keeping it from thinking like, okay, as bad as this sounds, but ejections might be the reason that the NBA is competitive. That might be the reason why we're not sitting here saying, oh yeah, the Warriors are definitely going to win, because you have to keep that team under control in order to win.
Well, but you know what though? Kawhi is coming back Tuesday, so there it is. Kawhi is coming back Tuesday.
I'm a firm believer he's a good player. I'm not a firm believer that the Spurs will be any sort of relevant anymore. They are done. They will win. They will have a winning team. They will not be able to compete.
But Kawhi is a LeBron type player.
There's LeBron James.
He's
he
close.
Very good.
There's only two other people right now that can do what LeBron does, where when they come on a team, they're a contender. That's Antetokounmpo is developing into that guy.
Very freak.
And Kawhi has been that guy, because the Spurs shouldn't have been where they've been the past 3 years. Kawhi has willed them, and the Spurs would have beaten the Warriors last year if Kawhi didn't get hurt.
That is arguable.
But they were dominating. That defense was suffocating because of Kawhi.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, even look at what happened to the Rockets when the Spurs got a hold of them. So
and also I got to make an announcement here. Stop with the Ben Simmons talk about him being LeBron. Unless the 76ers get to the finals this year, or maybe even make the Eastern Conference Finals, stop it. LeBron as a rookie brought the worst roster in the NBA to the Eastern Conference Finals. Cut it out.
Okay.
Stop it with Ben Simmons. Stop it.
He's absolutely not LeBron James.
He's a beast, but he ain't LeBron. There is no LeBron again.
It's very good, and I'm gonna go back to when I called this while he was at LSU.
I was a hater.
LSU year.
We had these arguments, Rob. I was a hater.
Yeah,
I was a hater.
You guys. I predicted that he would be very good. I predicted that he would be a Livingston had Livingston not gotten hurt, and he has done that. Up to this point, he has proven that he is that ceiling potential.
Let's keep him healthy. He did miss his rookie year. Let's keep him healthy.
True. The injury is gonna see. But I mean, Embiid missed his, and he's scoring 40 points.
And then, but Embiid played 21 games last year too. So
True.
he missed his, and he came back. People pretend like he played 60. Nah, he played 21 games.
But it wasn't by his choice. He was restricted.
But then he got hurt again.
Yeah, true.
Like Andre Drummond said, I love Joel Embiid, but play a back-to-back, and then you could talk to Drummond.
Yeah,
that was funny.
That is true. It is a lot of the minutes reduction does kind of creep in there, but good player.
We'll move on real quick. This is going to be a quick one. College football playoff: Clemson, Oklahoma, Georgia, and Bama. Did they get it right? What do you think, Rob?
So I think the Auburn game takes Bama out. I don't see how you still.
Now, do you believe it should be the four most deserving or the four best? Because if you're going with the four best, this is absolutely the grouping you put in. Now, if you're going with the four most deserving, then I think anyone in the Pac-12 is disqualified because they were the worst Power 5 conference.
True.
But then you take the other four Power Conference champions, period.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way to do it.
I feel like that's if you're gonna go 4 teams
that deserve it.
That's how it has to be.
You got Joe Hackett back there coughing up a lung during my podcast. Thanks, Joe.
He's dying. But like I said, 4-team playoff. That's how it has to be done. You gotta,
we need an 8-team.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Like I said,
let's not get too long on this. We're going long. Ain't no one going to listen to this podcast, Rob.
But we have to start cutting. Look, you want more games. We pay players off likeness. That is so we can get NCAA football games back. It'll be great. We'll have 8 games. They'll get paid. Baker will be, he won't be worried. He might stay. It'll work. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, pay him off likeness, signatures, and then give them 8 games. Heck, make it a 64-team one.
Right?
Who cares?
Exactly.
Make it like March Madness. Could you imagine that? Listen, no one's gonna make it to the NFL. They'll all have CTE by the time they're done with their college football career.
That is terrible to think. But you know what? Honestly, what if not 64? What if we got 16? What if we got 16 teams? We got a playoff. You got to win one game and keep going, and you just reduce the season by reduce the season 3 games, start it earlier, and that turns into something crazy. Because think about Miami. Miami loses the Pitt, and it's the end of the world. That's a good football team. They're young, but they're a good football team.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you just get Penn State still in it. You got Ohio State who barely, all these teams like Auburn just beat Alabama. All these teams that should be in there just don't have a shot. I'm looking at the top 16 right now, if LSU was playing and they had a shot, that is a team. That defense is crazy. RDP off the edge. He had 13 sacks last year, 9 this year. Like, that's just the teams that you want to see play against top competition. I feel like it's good.
It gives the Cinderellas a chance too in there.
Exactly.
Some of the AAC teams that UCF went undefeated this year got
That's
absolutely
another-
no love, no love at all.
Nobody, because of who it's the schedule. Strength of they're undefeated, but it's the strength of schedule is obviously what makes the biggest difference. But like that's a team right there. Actually, I know there's a kid who was a quarterback at Pace. He transferred and he's a graduate assistant at UCF.
Yeah.
So he was there for the 0-12 UCF and he's there for this UCF. So he's just we're in a group chat with him and he was talking about how like they have their kick returner is a transfer from I want to say Ohio State or Florida or some really big school, TV school.
Yeah.
And it's a different team. Like they play well, and there's somebody who we would see them in the 16.
Or even if you want to do like a 12-team playoff where the first top 4 get a bye, and then the next 8 play it out, so those top 4 earn the right to not play an extra game. That could be something that's fun. So you keep this whole entire the 4 that's in pressure right there. But then you have the other guys that still have a chance to win a national championship the right way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just more teams, more entertainment. That's
Listen, Rob, I got something through to Rob. Listen, just real quick, we had this debate probably for a solid hour and a half in a group chat, and he would not bend. I'm happy that something has gotten through. I teach Rob little things here and there. I'm not gonna argue the entertainment piece of it, especially looking at the teams. Like I think I was not thinking about this from a team's perspective at that point, but now looking at these top 12, 16 teams, like that would make for an interesting. And I'll give this to you, Rob. You're talking about the players playing more games, but if you're one of those top 16 and someone, or even the top 8. And someone came up to you and said, would you play an extra 2 games to have a chance at a national championship? Tell me one of those kids that would say no.
No, that's the thing. The kids aren't going to say, they're not going to say no. Because first off, if you're playing those other 2 games, they're nationally televised. You have more exposure.
The school gets money too, so.
Exactly. There's plenty plenty to be gained from doing it. But at the same time, if you have that situation and let's say a Shazier hit comes up and a kid is paralyzed because of game, like the negative attention you're going to get from it.
All right, but we agree that the Shazier hit wasn't your typical hit we're trying to take out the game. Yeah, the technique was flawed, but the hit's a football play.
True.
So,
I can't argue that. I can't argue that. All I'm saying is, look, this isn't even a discussion. Put as many teams as you need to put in. If you pay for likeness, pay the kids for something. They have to be compensated somehow. Baker Mayfield should be getting compensated somehow, some way. Saquon Barkley should be getting paid. He should be getting compensated for.
And I completely agree because you know what? Listen, in my little corner of town, I went to Marist College. The Marist girls basketball team is the hottest ticket in the Poughkeepsie area. They are one of the best teams. They make the tournament almost every year. You have to see the lines of young girls and kids after their games for autographs. Could you imagine if they were getting paid for these autograph sessions? This little podunk town of Poughkeepsie? It would make a difference to these girls. So, yeah, I agree with that completely.
True. So.
All right, so last topic before we end this ridiculously long podcast. Tiger Woods, I know you're a golf guy. You played some in high school. You're a big Tiger fan. Is the comeback real? Yes or no?
All right. So this thing with Tiger's always been injuries. He has a very violent swing. Like this is obviously.
He's Derrick Rose of golf, except with a lot better.
Yeah. So, like, I remember I was because I play a lot of golf. I played 3 years in high school, so I would watch swing analysis and see how this guy swings more violent here, put more pressure on his back. Tiger's swing, and especially because he hits a lot of he hits a lot of fades. That's how he likes to land the ball on the green. He'll hit a lot of fade shots, he'll hit aggressive fade shots. And the thing is, when you do that, you're putting a lot of pressure on your lower back, and his swing speed's really fast because he wants to be extremely precise. That's why you see, Tiger, he'll be, and this is a lot of pro golfers. They want to be, they like to be in certain positions. But if he is just off the back of the green or something, and if it's a back pin day and he's just off the back of the green where he could be, putting in a left to right situation or right to left, however him and his caddy planned it to be that way. He wants to be there. So, he's used to hitting the ball with a fade, letting it land, and he needs it in a certain area so that, he's scoring lower. And when you can't do that anymore, physically can't because of your injuries, it's frustrating. So I think, Tiger's, he's not going to go out and play unless he's 100% because if he's not 100%, then he's not playing his best brand of golf. So I think Tiger, a big thing with him as far as yes comeback, no comeback, it's going to depend on how well he hold up because we see him at the Hero and he played well. He shot a 30. He shot what was it? I saw what was the low. He shot like a 31.
Oh, he played really well. I thought that
exactly.
he played a full 4 days of golf where he's played 2 in his last comeback attempts and then faded on the weekend or not even made the weekend.
Yeah,
he played a full 4 days of legitimate golf.
Yep. And he's stringing together good golf. It was his first time back. We'll see. But it depends on how he holds up. Like he's getting older, and we see the thing with the medication he has to take just to be able to function almost regularly. And then now you add on the fact that he's going to be putting more demand back on his body with more years, more miles on him. So I don't know. I hope so because I'm sitting there and I was actually at work while the Hero Challenge was on. I was watching, seeing over the golf department to watch some of it, and I'm looking, It was actually kind of funny. I was telling my dad about it and talking about how there was this other African American gentleman who was watching.
Listen to you, so proper.
And we both are sitting there watching and we're genuinely happy that Tiger's back playing and everything. Just because he's one of the reasons why I'm playing in the first place. It just he's one of those guys who he's good. And he's black, so
with Tiger though, he's one of those athletes. It's not even a black-white thing with him. He's just it didn't matter who you were, what it is, the way he played golf and the dominance he showed. White, black, Asian, I don't care. You just loved watching it. He is Asian too,
but who can do that is just you're gonna like him. You're gonna like him.
So
even Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth is another one. I mean, he's as good as he was. I'm a huge Spieth guy. He's good. He's it's fun to watch somebody who can consistently be that good in a sport that's so hard to be that good at.
And that's the thing. It's so hard. And to put it in layman terms a little, Rob gave you guys a lot of technical golf stuff that you're gonna hear if you're watching the Golf Network. To put it in layman terms for other fans that don't like golf as much but know Tiger. Picture it this way. Tiger's swing and how violent it is, it's like Ray Lewis in his prime hitting. Bottom line, no one hits the ball more violently and probably harder. Yeah, he doesn't hit it the furthest, but his swing is probably the most violent that this game has seen, which is what has made him unique. My key for Tiger, I think, in the comeback attempt, he needs to be like that old pitcher that once threw 103, but now his velocity's down to 93. He has to figure out a way to survive and adapt and still be great in a world where his best strength is now just mediocre. And it's back to the pack. And he's not going to hit the ball as far or as good, but he needs to figure out, okay, this is where I can hit it and this is where I need to make it up and make every other part of his game good. So I think that's going to be the basis of his comeback attempt, how well he can adjust. So
it'll be a huge mental thing for Tiger. It's just going to be, it's hard to not just be the best. It's almost like a Kobe situation. It's hard to not be dominant anymore and just be okay with it. So I feel like a comeback is hard to predict and say because if you look at Kobe Bryant, once it was at a point where he wasn't going to be Kobe anymore, he was done with it. So if Tiger is thinking that same thing, it's probably the end. But we'll see.
But all right, Rob, that was lots of fun. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. I think people that listen to us are really going to enjoy hearing it. Once again, to everyone, this is my good buddy, Robert Planner. Again, FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson, shout out to New Jersey. Defensive end. You can find him. Rob, what's your Twitter plug? Give him a Twitter plug so they can find you.
Twitter is just Rob Planner Jr., no spaces, and Instagram is REPJR, just initial straight across. That's all.
And definitely go follow the Sports Opinions Twitter. It's at Sports Opinion 30.
Yes,
and
sir.
I am Alex Cuesta. Follow me at AQuestaNBN. And I want to thank everyone for listening. If you made it through this marathon podcast, I really appreciate that. But you got a lot of good content. So again, thanks a lot, Rob. It was good fun. See all of y'all later.